So, a moment of truth for me is oftentimes um, I am very fearful of letting go of God's hand since the death of my son because I feel like if I let go of his hand that I'm going to drown in just the reality of what has happened in my life. So for me, keeping God close is so important. It's so much more than just telling you guys, something about trying to become spiritual or being this, this relationship, this personal relationship with God is personal for me because it's what's keeping me afloat. I have people ask me all the time, how do you do it? When I think about how much God has been speaking to me over the course of my life, it's just amazing to me. So it's so frustrating sometimes that I can't articulate to others what God has been putting inside of me. But I just pray for everyone else. And I appreciate when I get prayed for as well. When I think about my son and his death, this has been the thing that has propelled me and pushed me into purpose of what God has been calling me to do. But when I really get to the grit of things, my son's death was not the first time me losing a child. I actually lost a baby that at 5 months, and this is just my personal testimony to you guys, is really, not important to anyone but probably me. And when I look back at the date that that baby died was in 2007. And I had a little funeral for the baby and everything, and it would have been a girl. And it was 2 days before my son, DeAnthony, passed away, but in 2007. So you take 15 years later, and my son passed. And what I learned from that situation was that God was showing me something both times, this miracle about himself that cannot even really be put into words. But I lost that baby in March 24, March 24th, 2007. My son DeAnthony passed March 26th, 2022. And then the date that I had the funeral for that baby was April 13th. And then I had DeAnthony's funeral April 8th. And I wasn't even putting these two things together. And honestly, I didn't grieve the way I grieved with DeAnthony. Both times, though, I didn't really fully grieve. But the first time I didn't really fully grieve because I hadn't had 27 years to be with that baby and to let it go back to God. But I was still sad because I wanted that baby, but I wanted that baby because who I was having the baby by. And just everything. So that I think about. And then with my son, God was showing me something else. And so all these experiences that we experience in life is really to make us stop and to question, what's the purpose? Why are we here? And when you start to get the answer to that, your life starts to make so much more sense. And then you start to just get in position so God can start to use you. I share my personal stuff a lot because that's how I'm wired. I know some people is like, I wouldn't tell people this and that. And honestly, I know when people share things with me, I know how that affects me. So we're all called to groups of people that we impact. And so just step out and do whatever your impact on life is going to be. Partner with God, find out what that's going to be. And then just move in fear, because I be afraid every time I'm moving. I'm like, but whenever God's placing on my spirit to say something, I just get out and I just start saying it. And yeah, um, you know, I remember with my son's baby, his son, my son was not on board, right? And this is something else I'm just disclosing so much, you know what I'm saying? But this is going to help somebody. So with my son's baby, I took the DNA test, and I remember talking to my son before he passed away. This is like a few months before he passed away, and he was he wasn't really upset that I had took the test behind his back, the DNA test. But he just really wasn't on board. And he's like, oh, it's so much going on. And I just don't, I want to wait the timing. And he just felt like he had time, and everything was about timing. And there was a lot that I didn't know. So like, there was stuff I knew. There was a lot of stuff I didn't know. But to the point, I told him, I said, I don't know. I even kind of had words with another one of my sons about me taking the test. He's like, why are you doing that? You're violating that man's, what he wants to do. And I'm like, I don't know. God's just been telling me I need to do this. I need to do this. And, now when I look at my son's son, I see a version of him, and I'm like, there's a part of me that hasn't really been able to really just embrace my grandson just yet, just because I don't want something to replace what I've lost. But God is really telling me, like, I gave you this gift to help you. And so, we have to be willing to let go of things that is not easy and embrace the new. And that's just life. So, I really didn't want to get emotional, but I will say, in life, you have to hear what God is saying and move so you can be healed. Because the longer you wait, the longer your healing is gonna take. And so the moment you start letting go and acknowledging things that make you angry, things you have questions about, it's not that God doesn't already know these things. It's the fact that he needs you to confess that you need healing in these areas, and things that he's already put in place. He's waiting to activate to start working these things. And so, I hope the stuff that I say helps someone, because it definitely is nerve-wracking for me to get up here and post videos and speak on things that I am just like so self-conscious about doing. So I just want to encourage someone else to walk in your fear, do it while being afraid. And I'm just at the beginning, so I don't even know. I just take y'all on a journey with me as I journey through my stuff, just my stuff. And as God puts it on my heart, I expose and tell my testimony as I go. And hopefully it blesses at least one person. Each one reach one. Okay, y'all, be blessed.